I was maybe 7, and my 3 friends and I decided that we were going to get matching pajamas. But when we tried them on, mine didn't fit. When I was little, I saw a therapist. He had these creepy, smelly little dolls that he gleefully told me he had had since he was my age. We used them instead of talking when things were too difficult. He told me that normal people were like raisins, but that I was like a grape. I just needed to work hard to shrivel up, become a raisin like everyone else. I saw a hypnotherapist. She told me that I needed to remove any ties I had to food from a past life. That I no longer lived in a time of famine. I didn't need to eat any more than necessary. The world is full of all kinds of people. Growing up big taught me that I would never fit. Let's talk about the F word. One of the worst things that you can do to a fat person is say, no, you're not, when they mention being fat. We're looking at the same body. We both know that I'm fat. What it means when you refuse to say fat is that my body is something I need to be ashamed of. That my body is something I need to hide away, to keep secret, even though it's the first thing people notice about me when they see me. When you refuse to say fat, you're telling me that I am a bad word. I've been fat since I was 6 weeks old. I was fed nothing but breast milk, and yet still, I was overweight. I doubt you could have... Some people have these stories about how they got fat, right? But I've never known anything else. I've never been anything else. I've never known what it's like to literally fit in this world. And in the same sense, I've never been able to break out of this mold of everything that being fat means. I doubt you could have met a kid who knew more about dieting and weight loss, and yet, here I am. Nothing's changed. In fact, I've done nothing but gain weight my entire life. I don't see that stopping. Being fat means a lot of things. Being fat means going to the doctor with a sprained ankle and having her say, I can't tell, you just have chubby ankles. Thanks, Campus Health. Being fat means being afraid to eat in public. It's the need to apologize whenever you catch someone staring as a fork enters your mouth because you know that you're disgusting. Being fat is being afraid to go into stores because the look on the shop attendant's face is always clear. You don't fit here. Being fat is the guy in high school who said that you and your boyfriend should win a yearbook superlative for the ugliest couple. It's guilt and it's shame. Being fat is a taste of apologies, ceaselessly trying to slip past your lips like the food passing down. There are 2 compliments, though, that I can always count on receiving. 1, I have great hair. And 2, I'm funny. The hair compliment's great and all, but I don't actually do anything special with it. My hair is thin and a pain in the ass. One day in acting class, we went around and we had to compliment each person in the room. 95% of the compliments I received were about my hair. It was clear to me then that my hair was the only thing about me worth complimenting. What's great about the hair compliment is what you can hear between the lines. Why do you get to have that hair? My entire life, I've had people tell me how jealous they are of this. And Am I supposed to apologize for having one redeeming physical characteristic? As for being funny, funny is a performance. Funny is something learned by fat children because it's expected of them. Funny is a defense against ridicule by entertaining your oppressors. I am funny because it's the only way I can get people to listen to me when I speak. Funny is what keeps me real, what keeps me grounded, because if I wasn't funny, I wouldn't exist. I wouldn't be allowed to exist. My mom told me once that I have something she calls the Carlson invisibility factor. That no matter what I do, no matter how hard I work, I won't necessarily be recognized for it. It would seem like a terrible thing to tell a kid if it wasn't true. Funny is the only way to combat the Carlson invisibility factor. Even so, whenever someone tells me, Anna Marie, you are just so funny, my immediate response is usually, fuck you. I am so much more. Funny, even though it's a cry for attention, it's a way to get noticed, is alienating. Funny establishes you as the other. You're always expected to perform, and when you stop, people don't know how to react. Last week, 2 of my male coworkers were talking, and they said, you know what I can't stand? Girls with those cottage cheese thighs, you know what I mean? And I turned to them and I said, why don't you put some fruit on them and lick it off? I thought it was hilarious. They didn't appreciate it too much. I have a complicated relationship with being funny. I crave the attention. I need the attention. But with the pride that comes from another self-deprecating joke being a wonderful success, comes the realization that I sacrifice myself for the approval of others. I can't separate depression from being fat. Both are integral parts of my experience. They're the lenses through which I see the world. I don't know where I end and depression or being fat begins. My story then is one of both mental illness and fat oppression. As a fat person, I have to work twice as hard as a normal-sized person for half the respect. No matter what I do, I will always be seen as inherently lazy because of my size. I work harder than many of the people I see around me. And yet still, I am followed by this constant gnawing sense of inadequacy. This is where depression and being fat intersect. Some see depression as a symptom of being fat. But honestly, I've never seen the two as being related. When I'm feeling down, it's easy to use my weight as another reason not to like myself, but when I'm at my most depressed, it isn't my size that keeps me up at night. Life is an exercise in isolation. We are, by nature of our consciousness, alone. As a fat person, I feel even more that I exist in a bubble through which no one can come in or go out. I don't see that changing. Do skinny people face some of the same issues? Do skinny people struggle with body image and self-consciousness? Yes, of course. But is it the same? No. Fuck you. I once had someone tell me that he understood my struggles with body image because no matter what he did, he couldn't gain any weight. I respect that as a struggle. I do. But if you for a moment think that it's the same, then you need to step back and accept the truth. Fat shaming is an institutionalized form of oppression. Fat shaming is deciding to walk the long way around because you know that you won't fit and no one will move for the fatty. Fat shaming is not being treated by doctors because everything is just a symptom of being fat regardless of what you have to say. I'm sure that skinny shaming hurts, but skinny shaming isn't getting kicked off the ride and being laughed at in front of all of your friends in middle school because the seatbelt wouldn't close. Skinny shaming isn't being a young girl and reading online that as a fat woman, she would be lucky to be raped. Skinny shaming isn't the constant need to apologize anytime anyone touches your body for any reason. That is my reality. I generally feel disconnected from my physical body. When I speak to myself in my head, I use the collective we, because my consciousness and the body that houses it are different. Some say that fat people, they eat so much to fill some sort of lack they feel in themselves. Maybe that's true. I do sometimes feel empty, and sometimes food helps fill the gaping hole that I can feel in my middle. Maybe I'll eat so much that I'll fill up and no longer feel empty. I was tired of existing in shame and self-doubt. I was tired of hating myself. I was just fucking tired. So I decided that enough was enough. That I was going to move forward. And I was never going to look back. I'd like to stand here and say that my journey is over. That I had a happy ending. That I've met someone who loved me, but more importantly, I've learned to love myself. I'd like to say that, but none of that's true. What I can tell you is that 2 weeks from tomorrow, I will leave this institution with a degree in theater and a degree in English. And in about 90 days, I'm going to Japan to teach. We don't always know the direction our path is going, but we do know that we are moving forward. I would like to say that my journey is over, but it's just beginning. I'm 22. Nothing about my life is set in stone. But I'm still here, and slowly I am getting better. I may sometimes be a fucking mess, but I am unapologetically still here, and I am unforgivingly moving forward. Look at me. Look at me. I'm fat. I am fat. And that's okay. Thank you.